Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for my rational perspective. I'll try of Chelsea 0 Leicester 1, the FA Cup final. Chelsea lose back-to-back FA Cup finals. Painful, man. I had to take a little bit more time to think about the game. Of course, losing a game of that magnitude in that manner, with the drama late on with VAR, it just was, and the performance as well. It was a terrible day. I think this is actually worse than last year's final because, last year's final, there was a sense that there were so many things that went against us. I mean, you could argue the same today, in particular, the two defining moments of the game. But, we had a couple of injuries to players. We actually scored a goal last year as well, very early on in that game. I want to say congratulations to Leicester because I know a lot of Chelsea fans will just focus on Chelsea. I think they're such a well-run club. The recruitment at that club is just incredible. Yuri Tielemans, who scores the winning goal, and a delightful winning goal it is to win the cup. He's proof, as well as all of that squad, of the great recruitment they've had. They always make impressive signings. They make better signings than Chelsea a lot of the time, despite the fact that we have more money to invest in our squad. And there's a real team unit there. And Brendan Rodgers, it's a big day personally for him. So, if there are Leicester fans watching, this is not, I want to say I think they deserve to win on the balance of play. I think they showed a lot more than Chelsea tonight. And that's why they're lifting the cup, and Chelsea once again are going home with the runners-up medal. Coming to Chelsea, I think when their goal went in, I think the dread started to... I don't think maybe I'd realised how passive and lacking a clinical edge we'd had, because in finals you expect it to be tight, you expect it to be decided by one or two goals at most, usually one goal as it was today. That's how most finals are decided. And when they scored, I think I realised, it dawned on me how little attacking intent or impetus or just creativity, that's the word, creativity, we'd had. And you started to look at the clock. You thought back to Wednesday's game against Arsenal. You saw how little creativity we had on the pitch to create good chances. And then it dawned on you, that dread. Of course, the VAR, there's two VAR decisions, right? So the first one, my problem is inconsistency. It should be ruled out. Tielemans' goal should be ruled out by the law of VAR, by the law of this season. You think back a couple of weeks ago with Callum Wilson, if you're watching a game, Newcastle-Liverpool. Callum Wilson, it hits his arm on the way to it being a goal. That's a defining block, is a defining interception that causes the ball to run into Tielemans' path, who eventually scores the goal. I don't know in what logic and what sort of rule book VAR for some reason decided suddenly that rule is irrelevant in the context of this goal. So that's one point. The second one is, the offside rule has always been a little bit silly to me. In the case of VAR, I think you have to get protractors out, and you have to constantly, especially in areas of the body that if you did use, you'd be ruled out from scoring anyway. So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me in the case. But I think that it was heartbreaking. It really was, to have two moments that went against Chelsea both. And it was, Ben Chilwell, what a moment that would have been for him. I want to come to Tuchel. I don't want to sort of going all over the place. I think Marcos Alonso was just a massive surprise to me, being in that starting 11. I didn't understand it when the team came out, but I'm always quite sort of restricted now in terms of going out there and saying, oh, this is a bad move, this is a bad move. You want to see how the game plays out, because to be fair to Tuchel, he's got so many decisions right that you think there's a reason he's done that. Maybe for height, for physicality with defending set pieces. I don't think Marcos Alonso had an awful game, but I think you saw the impact Ben had when he came on the pitch. He's just an all-round better left wing back. He adds more acceleration. He adds even attacking threat too. I know Alonso gives you that, but just all round, I've always wanted Ben Chilwell. And in a game like this too, against a energetic, very technical side with intensity like Leicester, I think you need a player like Ben Chilwell. I think you really do. And I think we lacked him. I think we lacked a lot from our wing-backs today. A big tactical decision, which I understood defensively, was to switch round Cesar Azpilicueta and Reece James. Reece James for the first time under Tuchel playing at right centre-back. I understood that, but once again, I think it limited our ability in the final third. It was a risk that Tuchel didn't take, playing Reece at right wing back, but we know how important those wing backs are. Dave has been a very effective wing back for Chelsea, but I felt we struggled to get them into the game too. I wanted Mount, Ziyech and Werner to start. I think there were opportunities to create more opportunities. It was just a sense of the players rushing. I mean, whether it was Werner rushing, there was a lot of times where Chelsea players, they seem to get into good positions and they just seem to lose their heads a bit. And that's not what I expect from the talent we've got in this squad. I think all of this, you could talk about this player should have started, that player should have started. The mentality is something that is constantly demeaned nowadays. And because it gets overused, probably I overused the word too much. But that for me is on games like today where it is so tight and defined by small moments. Those are those moments that very much define the winners, the great Chelsea teams we adore. This team quite clearly doesn't have that. I think in the previous two games, and it sort of says a lot for the work Tuchel has done to get this team with flaws within it, where he has to restrict the formation at times, where he doesn't feel maybe comfortable playing a full-back system, where he has to play three centre-backs, he has to play two wing-backs, to protect maybe Jorginho at times, to protect defenders, and it's just... I feel like our game at times is limited, and I think you saw it today once again. I mean, Chelsea have operated in a very sort of model of low scoring. We don't create a lot of chances. We don't score a lot of goals. And that was a tax that I think was going to come back to hurt us. I do want to pick up on something that I know you guys will talk about, Kepa in goal. It's a great strike, but I feel like I've said that a lot with goals Kepa has conceded over the years. If Edouard Mendy's in goal, does he save that? Or does Yuri Tielemans take that shot? I think he does, because Yuri Tielemans is a sort of midfielder that I think would take that shot generally. I don't think Mendy being in the goal would change anything. And I don't think there are any other moments within the game in terms of set pieces, in terms of communication, where Kepa faltered. It's just one of those things. It's defining moments, and you can compare and contrast Kepa to Schmeichel. Schmeichel makes two massive saves. One of them, just one of the best saves I've seen this season from Mason Mount. And it's typical that Mount was the closest to scoring from us. Of course, Ben Chilwell too got a header after coming on. Two amazing saves. Schmeichel has been such an amazing keeper for many years. And those are those fine margins in these big games that define these cup finals. And unfortunately, Chelsea just, either because of, you could have a go at VAR, you could have a go at the offside rule, you could have a go at player performances. It's those margins that maybe define this game. And if Mendy's in goal, who's been Chelsea's best keeper, you think about the saves Mendy made against Real Madrid in that second leg, which really turned the tide, for Chelsea. If Benzema, I think it was both Benzema chances, if one of those goes in, the tide completely changes in that game. Momentum is such a big thing in football. And I don't just want to hound Kepa because it's not a massive mistake, but it's those fine margins that once again have cost Chelsea. And my fears pre-game, maybe not obviously, but I think it could still be pointed out there. I have to be honest with you guys. I think it's going to be really difficult for this team, because I think that they've got the Leicester game on Tuesday. Leicester are going to be so amped up now. The top four race, the psychological battle. Chelsea have faced Leicester twice this year. It's so ironic in football that our two lowest moments of this season have come against Leicester City. And Chelsea desperately now need to sort out top four. They need to get their act together. Tuchel does as well. I think he made some key mistakes in selection. I think primarily, it was, in my personal opinion, I think it was Ben Chilwell. Others have argued about Callum Hudson-Odoi starting, Christian Pulisic starting, didn't get enough time. Kai Havertz didn't get that much time. We were throwing just as many bodies, attacking bodies onto the pitch as possible to try and make something happen, which of course you're going to do in an FA Cup final when you're 1-0 down. And I think it's a big moment for the team, and they've got the Champions League final. I think that it puts so much pressure on that Champions League final now. If Chelsea secure top four, then the pressure in terms of Chelsea, for next season, we've got Champions League secure. But in terms of titles and winning big trophies, if we keep losing finals, psychologically, a barrier will go up there with these players. Something that was so big about the 04-05 team, they won the League Cup, under Jose Mourinho. And that was such a defining moment in that team's sort of history, learning to win big trophies. And that League Cup, despite not being the biggest cup, I think helped them in the Premier League. It helped them in subsequent FA Cup victories. It helped them all the way to the Champions League final and other Premier League titles. This squad needs a trophy. It needs to be Chelsea, to what Chelsea are, to what Chelsea as a club represent or sort of present themselves as. It's about winning trophies. And when you don't win trophies like today, when it's presented to you and you put in such a passive performance like that, that's lacking creativity, that's lacking heart, I think, and leadership too, that has been such a big problem for Chelsea in recent years, that we felt maybe had gone under the radar or maybe had been slightly improved by Tuchel. I think reared its head, not only today, but the last two defeats in a row. First time for Thomas Tuchel as Chelsea's head coach. It's going to be hard. I hope you guys are okay out there. I hope you can drown your sorrows somehow tonight. I'll be back again for some more videos soon, previewing the Leicester game, new stuff, all the reaction after this final. Thank you guys for watching. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.